Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey, do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey, do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo.
We're live.
No.
We are live.
It's only game 2.
Morgan, this is why I tell you, we got to appreciate the wins because the losses this year hurt so much more. I'm in pain tonight.
I think this is hilarious. Deuce said this on the way back here.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, Morgan.
Hi.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long season if you feel like this after every loss. Let's go, gang. It's not, you know what? It's not after every loss. It's who they lost to. It's why they lost again. It's nightmares formed once again in my hometown.
Steph Curry, go away. How about that? Just go away. We're done
know,
with you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. You're
we
good.
get it.
You've accomplished everything you could possibly accomplish.
You're so good at basketball.
It's time for you to go night-night. Like, I'm done with this.
I'm honestly
You know
with
I've
you.
respected Steph for so long.
Until now.
No, hear me out. I've respected him so long.
Yeah.
But now, both teams are good at the same time. And now, he's becoming a legit villain that I don't like. And it's a weird thing.
Especially when he does the night-night.
Dude, does he taunt the Kings more than any team in the league now?
Honestly,
I hate it.
I feel it. In which is it has to be like a mad respect thing at this point because it's like, we hate you too. You're Northern California, but you'll always be the little brother that loses, that can't win in a fight, that'll keep in a headlock.
Man. There's so much to go over tonight. I think everyone who's watching us live on a Friday night, we thank you. I know it's not easy after a loss to hop on in here. It's a lot easier to hop in when they win. Everyone's like, yeah, Kings win. Oh, Deuce is all fired up, fog machine.
Party,
let's go.
drunk, yay.
So if you're here right now on a Friday night, you're like one of the hardcore OGs. That's like, all right, let's talk about the shit. Got a lot more to go. But, I do want to make people feel better. And so in this moment, I'm going to make people feel better. Guys, I'm going to let you take a look at the outfit I was wearing tonight, along with my haircut I got, and just allow you guys to kind of soak this in for a second. Give me a second. Should I redo the tie for them?
Don't.
No, you know what? Hold on. I'll redo the tie for you guys, too. Hold on a second.
There's a photo of you online.
No. But sometimes, like, getting the visual, I'll turn around so they
you know
can
what
see
I
my
love
butt
is
a
that the
little bit.
first thing I do is get out of my outfit whenever I'm back for a podcast. Like,
I'll walk in. I'm going to walk in, too, okay? I'm going to walk in.
He's going to make us feel better. Okay.
Can you intro me?
Yeah.
Intro me.
All right, everybody. The Basketball Mind, TV's, NBC Sports, Deuce.
Hey. That was not a smooth intro. I need you to try again. Okay.
All right, everybody. Put your hands together and give me a hell yeah, because TV's Basketball Mind, NBC Sports, father figure, amazing human being, Deuce Mason is in the building. Looking good. Looking fly. Wow, and your tie is crooked, by the way. So, there's his butt. Look at that butt. He's been working out. Making everybody feel. Does everybody feel better out there? Give me a hell yeah if you feel better.
Are you guys feeling better now? You're welcome. See what I do for you guys? See what I do for you guys?
What did you do?
Take their mind off of things a little bit. You know what? Some things, sometimes you get distracted in life. So, what is that?
I'm not good. Okay, you know what I realized too? This is why you host and I don't. Because you would come up with this like epic intro and I'm like, Like, I have a lot of great things to say about you, but I'm not good at putting them in intro wrestling form.
There's people saying no, that did not make them feel better. Is it because of her intro? You want her to do it again? Is that what you're saying?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, seriously, appreciate you guys being here. I needed to do that to make myself laugh a little bit.
I
Because
think that's what
I'm
it
not
was.
kidding you. On the way back, I'm just in the car with Morgan. I'm like, I'm not happy about tonight. I am not, and I'm not one of those hot take guys. I was on Kyle Draper's show today with Whitey Gleason.
Yeah.
And he asked me if today was a must-win. Kyle, what? But I said how important it was for the Kings to win tonight. And I was just so disappointed by the second and third quarters. It was just mind-numbing. And now that there's expectations, I think the losses feel worse.
Yeah, can we just like say that we've started, or do you have to do the intro? Because I'm like ready to roll off that.
Yeah, and our score graphic's wrong. I had the wrong one. You're right. Why'd you just notice that now?
My God,
Dude, I know what happened. And you know who said that in the chat? I appreciate you guys. See, that's how
you guys,
dude, that's
you
really
guys,
bad.
the
Hold
real
on.
MVP. Was that an old?
Well, I had the right numbers on the bottom, but I did not do the right score. I had the Utah Jazz score, which was really stupid. So see, that's
This is so embarrassing.
But you know what's amazing about me? is
expand, please.
You know, what's amazing about me?
Yeah.
Is in the middle of doing this, I have it updated. Was that our graphics person? Was that our?
Oh my God.
Me.
Why?
Me.
Wait. Why
there we go.
Are we
it's
needing,
ready.
You did not lose tonight. Why are we needing so much affirmation? Huh? Why are you begging for it?
I need love right now. I need love.
Like.
All right.
Not that big of a deal.
Well, I want us to have some fun tonight. We appreciate already that we got one donation.
Thank
Ipodicus
you.
donated $10 to fix the score on the graphic, fam.
Hey, with that type of money,
That $10 donation made that possible.
yeah. Thank you. Seriously, though, that's sweet.
All right. You want to get into it?
Let's get into it.
Let's start the show. Deuce and Mo, we're coming down in 3, in 2, in 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast. Recording this late on a Friday night after the Sacramento Kings home opener. It ended up being a loss to the Golden State Warriors. It was 122 to 114. Steph Curry did his thing. He had 41 points. In the last 2 games in Sacramento, the guys dropped 91 points. The Kings had to rally late to make it a game because De'Aaron Fox absolutely took over in the fourth quarter. He finished with 39 points, 22 of which came in the final frame, but the Kings weren't able to get it done after 2 disappointing quarters, the second and the third, where they gave up 75 points. And believe it or not, the Sacramento Kings have only won 1 home opener in Golden One Center, and fans weren't there to see it. It came in December of 2020 when they beat the Phoenix Suns. So technically, fans have never, ever seen the Sacramento Kings win a home opener at Golden One Center. That streak continues. Shout out to Matt on Twitter for alerting me of that. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. How you doing?
I'm better than you. I'm definitely better than you. I'm fine.
Why do you say that right now?
Because you allowed the second game of the season to get to you personally. Like you took it like Steph Curry was not going, this is for you, Deuce Mason. Oh, dagger in your face, 41 points. He wasn't doing that to you. He was doing that to the Kings, the guys on the team. And I just want you to fully understand that.
I also want you to fully understand something I said before the season is ringing true. And I think the fans feel it now.
What?
The losses hurt much more now. And I think also it's early in the season.
It's game 2.
I understand that. Now, is there a panic button here I'm hitting?
No.
But, I mean, we could play it's this early in the season.
Sure.
I'm just being completely honest about how I feel right now.
Okay.
Tonight was a huge disappointment.
I appreciate the transparency.
It's pretty simple, Morgan. you're on your home floor, a place you did not play well last year. And you're taking on a familiar foe, the Warriors that you've seen, it seems like 700 times in the last year. The last time they were here was Game 7, and Steph dropped 50. The Kings had a great first quarter in this game, and then second and third quarters were so disappointing. They tried to claw back and lost. I just felt like the Kings, I felt like needed this type. They needed a win like this tonight. Obviously not a must win. We're Game 2. But I think the number, it's simple. The Warriors have the Kings number right now. That's just the reality.
They do. And like, I mean, deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Like deal with, you saw them find ways against a different Warriors team in the postseason. They found ways to pull out the W in the playoffs. You saw that their defense was capable of not stopping Steph Curry, but slowing down maybe the rest of the team, right? Like there were those moments in the postseason. That didn't carry on into tonight's game fully. I think, like you said, in that first quarter, things felt pretty good. As soon as Steph Curry was sitting out, you said it was 17. It was tied at 17. He went out, and then the Kings made a little bit of a run because the Warriors couldn't score. And then as soon as Steph Curry gets back on the floor and makes more happen, it becomes contagious.
Sure.
What?
No, I look at that tonight and I go, there's just so many self-inflicted wounds. And I know we're going to go over all of it, but the point you just brought up, the Warriors at times struggle in the non-Steph minutes. And in that first stint, it was not good. Morgan mentioned it. It was 17-17 around the 4:05-ish mark when he left the game in the first quarter, the sub out. The Kings led after 129-24. I just felt like everything was moving well. I thought the defense was pretty good. And then Steph does his thing. And the self-inflicted wound to me, and I know this guy didn't play a lot, especially in the second quarter. He didn't play at all. I just don't understand putting Kevin Huerter on Steph Curry.
What is that going to do for his confidence? What is that going to... And I saw a few times, like, everyone... It was... The mindset seemed like, and tell me if I'm wrong, it seemed like just switch. There's a lot more switching maybe going on because it's like, hey, whoever you have, you're kind of screwed no matter what. Like, but Steph Curry's the one that, you know, you want to make sure there's somebody glued to him at all times. So if you had to switch. But yeah, I didn't fully understand why, because that's not going to help Kevin Huerter's confidence either. It's not going to slow down Steph Curry. But there was nothing slowing down Steph Curry. You're talking about, I mean, there's guys fronting him, Chris Duarte fronting him in the third quarter. But going back to Kevin Huerter and let's just call it what it is, disappointing 16 minutes that he had, 0 for 5 from 3-point land. He just, he's in his own head. Matt Barnes and I talked about it on the postgame show. Like it's a confidence thing. And yeah, guarding Steph Curry isn't going to help that.
That's exactly it. And he played the first 6 minutes of the game and then did not play the rest of the first half.
Did you hear what De'Aaron and Keegan had to say about Kevin after the game?
I get that they're being supportive teammates, and I dig that a lot.
And I felt it though. Like I believe that they believe that too.
Sure. And yes. I mean, you want to help this guy through this.
Yes.
You know he's been a good player before, right?
It's there.
At this point, you're going, okay, you're not making shots. All right. We believe you can get out of it. But defensively, I mean, they're just targeting him. And I think if you're going, hey, we're going to start the game and have Huerter kind of defending Steph, I just don't understand that. Like, I understand that you're starting Fox and Huerter, and they put Fox on CP3, and stuff got switched up too. And then Keegan's guarding CP3. But I don't know, start Fox on him. Put Fox on Curry. I know it expands a lot of energy, but like, I need someone to check it and just make his life a little more challenging. And if we're going to talk about that with Steph, because the only thing you could do is try to make life harder, and then you live with the results, right?
Yeah.
The Kings tried to make life harder tonight. Chris Duarte did his best. He bodied him, played physical. Steph does not stop moving.
Yeah.
The guy hits tough shots after tough shot. I mean, he had that one drive where, I don't know if Davion Mitchell might have
not hit him. The amount of times I saw the replay up on the big screen, I was like, what? Got out of his way.
I think what happened is he breathed on him, and it kind of pushed Curry aside. But anyway, Curry had this wild ass and one.
Yeah.
He had another 3-and-1 with Duarte. He got caught in there.
So many that was the thing that happened too there toward the end was, I mean, not even toward the end, just whenever Steph Curry was in, it was his shot making ability was deflating the Kings, but then on top of that, it was empowering the rest of this Warrior squad. It didn't matter if Chris Paul was dropping dimes and finding the next guy, or if it was, I mean, who else had a big scoring game? I guess you go to Klay Thompson, who was just feeling good in his shot and his rhythm.
But Klay also took good shots. Well, let's stick with Curry, though.
You got it.
Curry ends up with 41 points. He did it on 14 of 19, 7 of 10 from three-point land. Yeah, especially with how many, Fox is taking great strides defensively, in my opinion. I just would have liked to see him check Steph a little more.
Yeah.
Especially like in that first quarter, set the tone.
And here's my other thing, because we're so early in the season, it's not like we're like, oh, game 65, and you want to make sure that you got De'Aaron feeling good in the postseason or whatever, maybe your excuse. You want to make sure he's good in the fourth quarter, because Matt made that point too. Like, you want to make sure he has the right energy to do what he did in the fourth quarter, and I get that, but I think he's capable of doing both. And the only way he's going to get better at doing both is if you have him have those actual minutes on Steph Curry. That is what's going to push him to get better and be able to have that energy all throughout the game. Again, I can't even imagine having the energy to guard Steph and then do what De'Aaron Fox does. But yeah, it just seems like there's got to be more of a strategy there with that.
And then tonight, the turnovers were just brutal. And by the way, Warriors had more turnovers tonight, and if that became a factor later in the game, the Kings did. I thought, to their credit, if we're going to talk about some of the stuff they did wrong defensively and some, just not being able to check Steph at times, right? The trapping was pretty effective for them on Steph in that game. They definitely made some more defensive plays as they made that push, and De'Aaron got going in the fourth quarter. But ultimately, Golden State had 19 turnovers. Turned into 18 points for Sacramento, okay? Sacramento had 14 turnovers, turned into 26 points. And, like, some of the turnovers were just bad passing, poor execution. This wasn't like, oh, man, what lockdown defense by Golden State, And I just thought, again, there were self-inflicted wounds by Sacramento.
Just attention to detail on a few of these things, right? Like, it
over
was...
dribbling, too.
Yeah. There was I think there was a few times they were overthinking things, and you saw that in the way that they were hesitating, whether it was into a shot or into where they were going to pass the ball next, and not even like doing the little thing that I always say, like fake a pass to make a pass. Like, make sure that you are playing your game. And I think their game, they're so fundamentally sound for the most part. And tonight, I just didn't see that out of this King squad. And that's what led to even the Warriors doing a great job capitalizing off of those turnovers.
Turnovers were obviously deflating, especially when they're knocking down big shots. The other thing that was deflating is the Kings knocked down 6 3-pointers in the first quarter, okay? They made 6 the rest of the game. They were 6 of 13 in the first quarter. They finished the game 12 of 40.
That was one of the stats I forgot to mention on the postgame show, and I really wanted to, because that alone, it started to feel like, are we settling? Are we settling for these
I feel like
threes?
they got some good looks, but they
did.
And this is where, again,
it's a lot.
I'm trying to be careful here because this is my first reaction right after a game.
Yes,
I like to go back and watch, but God, just being there tonight, I didn't feel like the pace was what it was against Utah. I didn't feel like they were getting into their stuff. I felt like, honestly, even with Fox, I'm like, you gotta push here. This is a team that doesn't want to run.
Yeah.
And they did such a good job against Utah getting into their early offense. They didn't do that tonight. And I felt like everything was slow, maybe a little over dribbling. Davion Mitchell had a rough, really 10 minutes where he over dribbled, had a couple of bad turnovers. I thought Keegan, even though I thought he had some really strong moments defensively tonight that I want to highlight, there is one play late. He's driving, and it's like he's driving into no man's land, leaves his feet, turnover. He had 4 turnovers tonight. Yeah. And all of them felt so costly.
Yeah. Well, they were, because every possession was starting to matter in this game, especially when they lost the lead like they did, especially when they got in that hole that they were in. And it wasn't, what I liked is that you still saw them, you don't see the Kings give up. And that was something that they did last year. And even in this game, I know like they fought back, that De'Aaron tried to will his way back into this one, making some of those clutch threes, whatever. Not even that. It was like, even after deflating play, you don't see the body language just go down. And I appreciate that about this Kings squad. It's like they make those mistakes and then they just like, they get back up and keep going. But the only thing is, it was like, I think those mistakes messed with them mentally or something. Because like I didn't see it here.
You know, the other thing that got to them tonight?
What?
It was physical. And I'm sorry, they just have to embrace the physicality.
Someone matched their physicality.
Morgan, it was physical, and they were complaining a lot to the officials.
Yeah.
Last year, they did a pretty good job of just letting things go. We got to, you know, they really had a mindset of like, hey, all right, next play, next play. There was a lot of looking at the officials. Also, I completely understand. We've all played basketball. It's annoying as shit when an official misses a call. But you shot 29 free throws tonight, right? You had 29 free throws. They had 14. So you were getting some calls. It wasn't a perfect game. There were definitely missed calls. You got to keep playing. And I don't need so much looking back at the officials, arms up.
Because that takes you out of the game.
Especially against this team.
Yep,
All right.
yep.
Golden State is nasty.
And it's annoying at times too when you feel like Golden State is going to, like, officials are going to have certain biases with certain players. Like it's going to happen. These are humans. Like these are not robots. And I know that can be deflating, but what I liked in the beginning of the game, I felt like the officials were letting both teams get really physical and kind of go back and forth and not calling things. And then when the Steph Curry like ticky tack, like, oh, he cries about something and he gets the call. And I say that because it's like, that happens with all stars in this league. Like they can just do something and it's like, really, that's, we're going to call that, or Chris Paul does his little thing. But I mean, you're going to see De'Aaron start to do that against other teams too and try to utilize his stardom in the league. But otherwise that, I think it was just like a mental thing for the Kings. They were in their own head. They were complaining to officials at times and just making small ticky-tack mistakes.
Yeah. And again, you could check me on this, and the chat
Sure.
can check me
Love
on this
this.
because, you know, when you lose a game, you start looking at everything. You're like, what about this rotation? And what about this?
Talk
and
about it.
missed free throws.
What you got?
I felt like tonight, and I get like, hey, all right, Huerter didn't have it going, so they took him out. He was getting targeted, wasn't making his shots. Okay, let's go with Duarte. Duarte played with physicality, blah, blah. I needed to see more Malik Monk. And I felt like there were stretches where when the Kings aren't getting into their offense, having another playmaker, a guy that, let's be honest, when the Kings are starting to get owned a little bit here, I want to see a guy like him in the game because I know he can get hot. I know he ends up playing 17 minutes in this game. And I got to look at the second half numbers when I get a chance. But I don't know. I just felt like Monk should have played more tonight.
I didn't feel like he was being chaotic and taking the team down in any way when he was out there.
He played a minute 54 in the fourth quarter. And he played 6:14. So he played like 7 minutes in the second half.
No, but that is tough to get your rhythm, right? And either the trust wasn't there or maybe Mike Brown didn't feel like he was doing what he needed defensively. But I said this to you in the car too. I said the thing sometimes in games like this, I wish Mike Brown would capitalize on what he knows that they're elite at, and they're elite at scoring. They're really good at scoring. They're really good at putting points on the board. They're really good at when it comes to offense. And there was times I feel like they're focusing so much on defense, which, by the way, you should, right? You want to stop people, but sometimes there's unstoppable people. And I'm like, focus on what you're great at and do that right now. Like, do that. And
here's the other point I was going to make. I like seeing some. I want to go back and look at the lineups too. Give me some Fox and Monk. Allow Monk to run things.
Tell me your
have
lineup,
Fox
because
play off a ball. We saw Fox and Monk play the first like almost 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. So I don't know. I want to see some more Fox and Monk. And I know we saw some of it for stretches, but I don't know. Give me some more Fox and Mo. Take some pressure off De'Aaron, and then put De'Aaron on Steph.
I think Mike Brown's also still like playing with the rotation. No, I don't
Yeah.
think we know. Like, come
Well,
on, guys.
I mean, I think the 2 spot again is something we've been talking about, and I know he was asked about it after the game. He was asked about, Kevin Huerter. Is there some thought in changing? And Mike kind of said it's not just Kevin. We got a lot of things to think about. We got all these guys, blah blah blah. But it's clear like that's an area the Kings are going to have to look at some point. And Kevin, like you said, is in his own head right now, completely. And then Duarte, I love what he brings defensively. You just hope that like tonight was a bad shooting night. He shot the ball well against Utah. He knocked down his threes. Tonight he didn't. Those 2 guys combined to play. Duarte played 26 minutes. Huerter was like 15 and a half. They combined for 1 of 12 shooting and 0 for 9 from 3.
Sometimes, and that's the other thing, we like as we're the second game in, there's going to be nights like that. No matter what, even if your team they're known for their shooting, even if players like they're still trying to figure out a flow. Hell, they're trying to figure out a flow of their rotations and who they're playing with and trying to get a feel for everyone on the floor when they're playing these NBA minutes. It's game 2 of the season. And I'm going to stress that more and more because I think when you look at last season, when the Kings started 0-4 and KZ Okpala was in their starting lineup, like we were all like, what's going on here? Remember Rashawn Holmes? Do you remember him? Yeah, Rashawn Holmes wasn't even playing. And I'm not saying like that's going to happen with Kevin Huerter. Like they're going to find a role where he's not even playing.
That'd be disastrous.
Right. But my point is Mike Brown isn't afraid to experiment and guess what you still had? You still had a guy like Rashawn Holmes not playing any games, buying in, being there for his teammates, and then getting a big game against the Lakers and contributing to this win. And like those adjustments could happen. I don't know with who. I don't know if that's even going to happen, but like, don't be surprised if it does. Happened last year.
We appreciate all the people hanging out with us, watching us live. If you have not yet, hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed as well. All it does is just help our channel grow. The chat is going wild tonight.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Can we get the overreaction of the night?
What?
Scotty C says Mike Brown has lost the team.
Fire everyone! Yes! Love it. Love me a good little Friday overreaction.
Morgan, last podcast we debuted a new thing we do, which is the player of the game. And
the rock and soul player of the game.
Let's just say we had a little debate right before the show because I said, Morgan, I think the player of the game tonight has to be Steph Curry. Like, are people going to get offended by that if we make Steph Curry the rock and soul player of the game? Well, we settled on this after much deliberation because I guess I'm soft. We have players of the game, and we got to give it up to De'Aaron Fox and
we need
Steph
to know
Curry.
if everyone's okay with this, okay? Because we're obviously starting to do our rock and soul player of the game every game now. And Deuce has a problem doing that with when the Kings lose with a player. But I'm like, De'Aaron Fox was still
He was
just
awesome.
fantastic.
I'm going to say this in the future for rock and soul.
Yeah.
Player of the game. If Curry has 41 and the Kings don't have anyone that does well,
It's Steph Curry.
We can give the opposing team
I
player
agree.
of the game.
We're
okay?
not homers here. So
Yeah.
like as much as we love the Kings, we are not homers. And that's why you're not wrong. So because we are sitting on the fence, Steph Curry and De'Aaron Fox are our rock and soul players of the game.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox had 39 points, 22 in the fourth quarter. Curry, 41 points. He has 91 in the last 2 games in Sacramento. Of course, our players of the game presented by Rock and Soul. Check them out. Who likes breakfast for dinner? I do.
Breakfast for dinner. Breakfast
Well,
for
it
dinner.
opens daily at 8 a.m. Breakfast served all day. It's right down the street from Golden One Center at 10th and S. We're talking about just 6 blocks away. Go get food at Rock and Soul Diner. It's amazing.
They have TVs. They have the game on. So especially if you want to be there pregame, if you want to go there after game on a Friday and Saturday, they're open late.
Yeah. Let's we're bouncing around a lot here. Let's focus in on De'Aaron for a second. I thought De'Aaron, that fourth quarter was special. I thought even his first quarter was great too. He's just, the guy's a star.
Yeah.
And it was incredible to see him take over late and even make that a game because the Kings were down like 18 and you're like, God, are they just going to roll over and lose big at home? They got the crowd back into it, and Fox just kind of put the team on his back. He made plays left and right.
He did. And making his outside shots was pretty fun to see, going 5 for 9 from 3-point land, and especially with those 2 clutch threes there at the end. But his ability to get to the basket and do it so effortlessly at time, it's not just going downhill now. I mean, now you're seeing these plays where some guys knocking it away a little bit, getting their hands on it. He gets it back, does a little crossover, takes a screen from JaVale and goes around to the other side. It's very, and I'm not comparing it because people are going to be weird about that, but it's like what Steph Curry does a fantastic job of is the way that he just kind of flows on the floor. Like it's his rhythm, it's his flow. And you're starting to see a little bit more of that with De'Aaron. It's not just one speed. It's he can change his speed. He can be light. He can be heavy. He can be strong. You saw that tonight.
He had 39 points on 14 of 28 shooting. He knocked down 5 of 9 from 3 in this game. He had 5 threes today in the game against Golden State. Yeah, I think Fox looks awesome, and I think he's really turning into the total package. I mean, he was an All-NBA player last year. Of course, he was good, but I just think defensively, he's taken another step, and I think offensively, he is the most comfortable he's ever been. He truly believes he can get to any spot he wants to on the floor.
Yeah.
And when you watch him, you're like, yeah, you can. And it was pretty special to see his fourth quarter. Again, he was known for that last year. And then he drops in the second game of the season 22 of his 39 in the fourth quarter. The Kings scored 30 points in the fourth, 22 from De'Aaron Fox. Golden State had 23 points in the quarter. De'Aaron had 22. So obviously pretty special stuff. Can we talk about Steph Curry for a sec, Morgan?
We already did.
No.
What else about this guy?
Well, I said this in the pre-show.
Yeah.
I, for a long time, have respected Steph so much, right? Like, hey, went to Davidson, the smaller guy, and he, the ankle stuff early in his career, what he's turned into. It's interesting how now that the Kings are good, Steph's starting to creep his way into I don't like him territory. Dude, Morgan, I'm going to pay closely. You know what? We watch a lot of NBA. Have you seen him taunt a team more than the Kings? This is the second game of the regular season, and he is taking
his
joy.
and one three, and just going ding, 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 ding. It's like, I remember back in the day how much I hated Kobe and Shaq.
He's moving to that territory. I'm dead serious.
He's not there for me because there's so many other times where I'm just super fascinated by his play. But when he does that shit, I'm like, you are rubbing it in the face. And it's not only is it deserved, you can do that, but I can be annoyed. And I'm very night.
Yeah.
I get it though. He's that good. He can do what he wants, and I think he's starting to feel a little bit different about the Sacramento Kings. Obviously, I mean the whole shoe deal with De'Aaron Fox. There alone, just him becoming a household name is understanding what the Kings and De'Aaron are developing into.
The guy's just iconic. The shots he makes, it just
how
we should never. I mean, I guess I'm more surprised when he misses. I think he missed the first shot of the fourth quarter. I was like, okay. And then the Kings trapped him. And then there's nearly a turnover. I'm like, oh my God, wait, is this guy human now? But he was ridiculous. I thought Chris Paul looked great tonight, just kind of running the show for them. And, it seems like he's a good fit, having another guy to make good decisions. Jordan Poole, as much as people like his scoring ability, he's still a young player who knows what he turns into, especially in Washington. But he was beyond chaotic. And he was mistake prone.
Yeah.
Chris Paul is a guy that obviously is one of the great point guards of all time. And that's a huge upgrade from a decision-making standpoint.
He's one of the greatest floor managers of all time. I mean, his vision, I sit at 2 different spots during the game. So sometimes it's behind the basket and other times it's looking at it courtside, but obviously up. And Chris Paul's vision from every angle is just magnificent. It's magical how he sees things. Sometimes I'll be watching the game and I'll be like, oh my God, get him on the back door, but it's like, obviously in a game, there's big hands, big bodies in the way. They can't see things. Chris Paul sees it all. And he ended with 12 assists on the night? Yeah, 12 assists, 10 points for this team. And he does his little veteran bullshit, where he acts like he gets hit. And it's smart. He makes smart moves. And right now it's looking good for the Warriors.
The Kings are going to see the Warriors again coming up next week, by the way. They have to go to San Francisco and play them at Chase. If you were sick of this team, well, guess what? You get to see them again when the Kings go to the Chase Center. We talked about the Warriors the other night after they lost to the Suns. I think the key is, can Kuminga and Moses Moody be guys that can help them this year to take pressure off some of the older guys, right? Like, these two need to take a step.
Yeah.
I thought the Warriors bench was awesome tonight. I thought Kuminga had some really strong moments. He had 12 points, 5 rebounds, an awesome putback dunk at one point. I thought Moody came in, just hit a couple of big threes to really crush the Kings in that third quarter. Both those guys are big for them. And so if they can get those contributions, I think that's vital to what type of success they can have this year.
That's what they've been wanting to see. That's
Right.
what they wanted to see out of these guys. And I think just not only because of experience and time is helping them grow there, but also even with guys like Draymond being out and them getting more minutes here, Jordan Poole not being there, and just getting to see a different side of them and how they play. These ball dominant guys aren't playing. What can you contribute to this team? And you're starting to see a little here and there, and you saw it a little bit tonight as they both scored in double digits. But they definitely felt way more confident and empowered when Steph Curry was just doing his thing. They're like, okay, well, we'll do that too then. And it worked.
I was talking to someone before the game about Andrew Wiggins, and they're like, yeah, people are a little concerned about him right now because he didn't play for Team Canada.
Yeah.
It looked like he didn't really play ball this summer. And you got to remember last year, he didn't play a lot, right? He came back in the playoffs, but he was out with an injury. Then the personal issues he had, there's some concern that he's not ready to go fully right now. And, he hasn't really played well in their 2 games. He had some nice moments tonight, but he only played 25 minutes for them. Kuminga got 26 minutes for them. So I think they like what they're getting from Kuminga. It's just Wiggins is not bringing that kind of spark or energy at the moment. What else did I want to hit on with this? Go ahead.
I know who I wanted to hit on.
Yeah.
Domas Sabonis, because that was something else that you and I were talking about. You look at his stat line, you look at his double-double, and you go, holy shit, 19 points,
Did a
18
great job
rebounds,
on the glass.
7 assists as well. I loved how strong he was. I loved the way that he was rebounding.
He also had 3 steals in this game, a couple of big ones too. One in the fourth that was big that turned into a De'Aaron Fox bucket in that little run they had in the fourth. Yeah, 19 points, 18 rebounds, 7 assists. And I'm sure you're wondering, what did Looney do? 8 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Looney is so underrated. Before we go into Sabonis' game, what was your reaction when Looney crossed up Sabonis and dunked?
I did not have the same reaction as you, but I was not happy about it.
People are using that clip now on social. See, I don't know. Kevin O'Connor said that the Kings should upgrade from Sabonis.
Fire Sabonis.
Okay. A couple of things. I don't understand the upgrade from Sabonis thing. Upgrade to who?
No, get Jokic. Trade for Jokic, Deuce.
Yeah,
Trade
okay.
for you.
There's
Obviously,
maybe a few guys that you would consider upgrades. Yeah, I mean, long term, we've talked about the Kings need some help at that 4 spot.
100%.
Athleticism, a guy who could play some defense too to help out in that regard. As far as Sabonis' game, I thought he had a good game, but he missed 5 shots inside the paint tonight, and the Warriors did a good job collapsing, being physical.
Yeah.
But for the Kings to take a step, I'm sorry, you have to embrace that physicality. He had a couple of nice and ones inside, I felt like, too, where he was strong. But, yeah, I mean, deal with it. You're going to get banged around.
And in that, we've talked about this before. The games that he deals with it and he just takes it.
Yeah.
It are some of his better games, because I think a lot of people feed off of his energy too. And if he doesn't have that frustrated energy, guys are also going to just fall and be like, yeah, we can't be frustrated. We got to keep playing. Our strongest player on this team right now is doing that same thing. And the frustration showed at times, but at the same time, you're seeing him just battle and put up big numbers still. I think when it comes to his shooting and missing some of those easy shots, there's got to still be something, especially against the Golden State Warriors, where it's like, it's back there. It's still there. I know he took 2 threes, 0 for 2. I'm fine with that, but like they're leaving him, you're being left open because they're like, we dare you anyway. And I just wish that was something that could just become a little bit more consistent once in a while. Like I think he hit one in that Jazz game, but yeah, they're gonna keep disrespecting your game if you're not gonna hit certain shots.
In the chat, Cool says, I think Sacramento stopped playing at their pace and let Golden State dictate the pace until it got urgent and then made a game of it. Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. It was like everything went wrong. The third quarter, honestly, it wasn't the same type of thing that happened in Game 7.
Yeah.
But remember, at halftime of Game 7, the game was close. It was a game. The Kings closed the second period terribly tonight. Warriors had the lead going into the half. But anyway, the Game 7 was close, and that third quarter was offensive rebound, second chance opportunities, just crushed Sacramento and then missed shots. And I felt like tonight it was turnovers, and then they were missing shots. And then when you turn the ball over, you put your defense in a terrible spot, and this is the team that makes you pay. But I do agree with what Cool says. The Kings did not push the pace enough. And I don't know. And maybe I'm missing something. Maybe the opportunities weren't there, but I just felt like they played at a different pace against Utah, and they weren't doing that same thing against Golden State and against this Warriors team with Paul out there who's 38, Curry, Thompson. They don't want to run as much, and I want to force Looney to run.
But do you think the Warriors maybe did a better job too of just like coming up and slowing them down? You saw at times like GP2, God, that one inbound play again. I think it was Davion trying to throw it into Malik, and he like overthrew. That's like what happened basically in that preseason game, except it was GP2 coming over the sideline. But yeah, like those moments are so freaking deflating. And if you're already not playing in rhythm and you're not playing your style, the Warriors just kept screwing with them more and more.
Tomas says that was not the Warriors' pace. It was Chris Paul's pace. The Warriors now have multiple paces. And that's a good point. It's again, what CP3 brings to them is like, hey, he can control the game and he knows. And then you have different paces with Steph out there and how they stagger it, play them together. It's interesting. It's going to be even more interesting to see when Draymond Green comes back. Hell, Draymond could be back for that game Wednesday.
Ugh, wouldn't that be such a joy?
Do you see they put him on the big screen during the game?
They did?
So they put Draymond on the big screen, and he was looking, and he smiled, and like,
you villain.
Dude, he was taunting so much.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I love how much Sacramento just hates him.
But anyway, I thought the one thing I did like from Sabonis tonight, I thought he was really good at like pushing. Like he was getting out and that was actually, I felt like if anyone pushed the pace tonight, it was him getting rebounds and pushing, trying to create something for Sacramento, and then they're missing shots left and right too. The 3-point shooting just was not good. And I felt like they still got good looks from 3. So I don't know. I just look at this game big picture wise and go, I felt like the Kings had this game, and they should have won this game tonight. That's what annoys me with it.
Well, I know where else to go with this too, because I know where you're probably feeling that. You're probably feeling that when the game started, and Keegan Murray was not only making shots, but he was also probably one of the better defenders for early on tonight.
Well, let's go to Deuce's notes. Everyone's fun game. My first 5 notes of the first quarter, all Keegan Murray related. And it was Keegan Murray defense. Keegan Murray did not make shots tonight. He was 6 of 16 in this game, 3 of 11. But he had 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. He did have 4 turnovers. One, he had a couple of really nice rebounds tonight. Like he went and got the ball.
Yes.
Tough rebounds. He had one for a second chance opportunity. But in the first quarter, I noticed this. He got switched on to Steph Curry. He didn't get embarrassed. He contested a Steph Curry 3 that was missed. Now, did Steph just miss the shot? Yeah, probably. But again, if you could stay in front and can get your hand up and contest Steph, to me, that's a win. That's good. You switched on to him. You did okay. He was defending Clay to start.
Yeah.
But he was playing physical. He was bumping Clay. He
staying
was grabbing
on them, staying lateral.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was encouraging. Like Clay's moving around. He's on him the whole time. I also noticed that, it was in transition. Clay had it in transition. Keegan got back there and contested a shot at the rim,
Hell
and
yeah.
Clay missed the shot. Keegan with another great defensive play, forcing. What's my note say here?
He typed it and he can't even see.
There you
what
go.
it
No,
says.
because it gets stopped, Morgan. It's off
Oh.
the frame. So I had to look at the top. Keegan with another great defensive play, forcing a Jonathan Kuminga travel. That was in the post.
Hell yeah.
And then he traveled. So I'm so encouraged by Keegan Murray's defense right now. I'm not worried about the shot. I think he'll hit the three. But he had a couple of nice attacks today,
I
too.
liked his looks from three,
Yeah.
though, too.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
the
yeah.
other thing about him. It's like I didn't feel like he was forcing anything. I liked the way that he was trying to make sure he was being aggressive with his shot selection while also just making sure he was taking some good looks. I love the way that he is trying to grow as a two-way player. I appreciate those things. I liked when I think he had like the first 5 points in this game. And then the other guy that started contributing right away was Harrison Barnes. And then he started not taking enough shots for me. That was just one guy I wanted to see either be more aggressive or his teammates get him more shots too.
So last game, of course, Harrison Barnes had 27 points in the first half, finished with
Yes.
33. Is fantastic. He had 10 points in this game on 4 of 5 shooting, just 1 of 2 from 3. I'm with you. I would just like to see a little of aggressiveness. And now I want to go back and watch to see, like, okay, what were the opportunities? What did they look like? But I was even watching him during warm-ups. He was warming up with Barbosa, and Barbosa's like contesting him. So Harrison's putting up all these crazy shots. He had like 6 in a row. I'm sitting next to Doug Christie we're going, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then the way he came out, I'm like, oh, is this another HB game? And then it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it had a lot to do with the pace, the sloppiness tonight. The Kings just did not play a good game.
No.
De'Aaron Fox was a stud, and now you move on. Both teams are 1-1. Can I be honest? As I talk about it, I'm feeling a little better
Thank
about
God.
it, but I don't like them losing to this team anymore. It's just it's.
I think that's what it is.
It's annoying.
And what's more
It's been a
annoying is
minute.
that it's when I say it's gonna keep happening, these two teams keep playing. So like this feeling could happen again with this team, but I'm glad that they're breaking it up and just playing against another California team on Sunday, the Lakers, another team that everyone hates in Northern California.
We want to look ahead to that game in just a second. I also want to ask you about the starting lineup and if you think there should be a change. We do have that as a poll question, but first, we should mention that tonight's podcast, this one, of course, our presenting sponsor, the one and only Northwest Exteriors. We appreciate their support of the Deuce and Mo podcast. And Morgan, if
Love
you
them.
need windows done, why should people trust Northwest?
Well, look, you can go to you can go to their site and you can request an estimate. I mean, it's super easy, you guys. You just go there, you give them a call, you get a free quote, and it's the same thing that I did here. And I thought to myself, like, oh yeah, new windows. That would be cool. That would make my house look really good. Oh no, I didn't realize it was going to do everything else to change my entire life. My energy bill, it's protecting my furniture because it has UV protection, noise canceling in the podcast room.
Also, if you do it, it's going to increase the value of your home. You're going to
Thank
save
you.
money. And I think the best part is like, it's the process so easy. If you go to the showroom, you pick out some windows, they come to your house, do all the measurements, blah, blah, blah. They go over everything,
Yes.
right? They don't subcontract out to someone else that has to. No, and they handle the permitting too. The process is so easy. And so we highly encourage you to check them out. Go to their website, trustnorthwest.com. Of course, they're big Kings fans too.
Huge Kings
Locally
fans.
owned. And everyone who works there has been there like 20 years.
The
They're
nicest.
awesome.
The nicest. And we already have listeners that have been reaching out. So they're simply the best.
No,
Okay,
that's
sorry.
not what you say. This is what you say.
Simply the best. Trust Northwest.
Also presented by another new sponsor. Shout out to our friends at Sharif Jewelers. Talk about another locally owned place. They have been in the business for a long, long time. We're talking about the 80s.
The 80s.
Family owned. You go to any of their locations.
Yep.
There's gonna be a member of their family there. We went there the other day and like I was blown away. Obviously the jewelry is like amazing, But when they're taking us behind the scenes and showing like, oh, doing repairs and custom pieces.
They do everything. It's like a one-stop shop for
Yeah.
anyone that has fine jewelry. You're looking for a good jeweler, or you're just looking to repair some of your jewelry, or some people looking for engagement rings.
Maybe you're getting married, huh?
Maybe you're getting married. They're the place to go to because it's like not intimidating. No one's trying to sell you on anything. They do custom jewelry, 3D printing, all these. They're all about evolving and getting better and better in this business. And I think that's what makes them so special too. Obviously, we already said locally owned. So if you're just looking for something, whether it is that engagement ring, whether you're trying to repair a watch or an old piece of jewelry, make sure that you are checking out Sharif Jewelers.
Yeah, go there in person. They're awesome. And they're also Kings fans, and they support the Deuce and Mo podcast. All right, Morgan Reagan, my poll question for the chat. And the chat's popping tonight. We appreciate so many people being here on a Friday night after a loss. The poll question was, should the Kings make a change to the starting lineup? The options, yes, no, it's too early. And the other option is give it 10 days or 10 games, excuse me.
10 days.
Just 10 days, huh?
Hey,
Give
10
it
days
games.
from now.
Of course, we're 2 games in.
Okay.
Right now, 47% of people say yes, 32% say no, it's too early, and 22% say give it 2 games. So, I mean, all fairness,
10
I mean,
games.
did I say 10 days again?
No, you said 2 games.
Am I okay?
I don't know. I think you saw the 22%.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. I got
So,
you.
what's 32 plus 22, huh? It's 54% of people say, well, let's just wait. So it's pretty close, right?
Okay, yeah.
Where are you at with the starting lineup? Are you to the point where like, hey, I want to give it some more time. Let's see Huerter knock down some shots and maybe everything kind of comes together. Or are you going, you know what? Like, you know what you need? Give Duarte the opportunity to bring Huerter off the bench.
I think if...
Or
there's another option.
one that I don't think Mike would do.
What?
Malik Monk as a starter.
Yeah, I don't think that would be the direction to go. I just like the boost, the energy, and what he provides with that second unit, and staggering the rotation with him there.
Can I just add on one thing about Malik?
Please.
I think out of all this shooting guard, I look at him, he's kind of a combo guard because I
Sure.
think he could play some point guard for you, you know? And he can be chaotic too. I'm not acting like he's perfect. But out of all the shooting guards you have, Kevin, Chris Duarte, Colby Jones, Malik gives you playmaking, scoring.
He does.
Attacking, the paint touches that you need. And defensively, he's not bad.
That's what I was just about to add, actually. So yeah, no, I get how that could also be a step, and especially then you're playing more of him and De'Aaron together. And it's like, I don't think you're going downhill when you go to, let's just say Davion and Kevin. And that's me obviously not knowing where Chris Duarte fits yet, even though I have a feeling that he is going to be pushed with his minutes as well, as long as he's scoring and playing defense. But yeah, I'm not ready to make those changes. But at the same time, how many games in did it take last year for Mike Brown to start making changes? He wanted to see what he had in NBA action, and then he made his decision. And his decision was the right decision. It's not like he was like, I'm going with offense. He went with what he had on this squad. And now this season, he has more depth when it comes to capable defenders, one-on-one defenders. Like, because I think Kevin Huerter is a fine defender. And when I say that, I mean that with his IQ. I mean that with his hands. He was like one of the top guys in deflections last year with this team.
And steals, for sure. Yeah, there's going to be matchups where he gets exposed 100%. And
sure.
Let's be honest, the Golden State Warriors we just played this guy in a 7-game series. We know exactly like what we're going to try to expose here. That's the other thing about tonight. I don't know about you guys. I felt like I felt a little playoff gamey.
Oh, no.
It like from like had the effort, the celebrations by Steph, just the emotions of it all.
Yes.
It felt that way.
Yeah, Steph looking just like he did in Game 7 almost. Yeah, no, all of the above. The energy in the building. No, I'm totally with you, and I think that feeling deep down like is still going to sting with some players. So sometimes those emotions, we talked about this in our what to watch, was how are they going to channel some of those emotions?
Yeah.
Well, De'Aaron Fox channeled that into elite play, while other guys like Kevin Huerter maybe channeled that into just like still being in his own mind about things. I think some people might be like, hey, you got to be careful. You don't want to put someone on the bench and really screw with them even more. I think Mike Brown has enough respect from these players that they wouldn't take it personally, you know?
Well, and even if you do, you take it personal and
And then
adjust.
fix it. Yeah.
Here's my stance on it. I would not make a change at this point.
Okay.
Give me more games.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you did have like an 82 game sample size
Yeah.
last year with Kevin. Okay. But it doesn't mean like have a short leash. And they had a short leash tonight, right? They took him out 6 minutes into the game, didn't play him the rest of the first half, but they started him in the second half, right? They still gave him an opportunity to go out there and bounce back. And then I want to just double check some things. He started the third quarter, came out at 6:14, and then he came back in the fourth quarter around 10:06 in the game. So yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. It's obviously something that we are keeping a close eye on. And I think even if he said he didn't look at social or didn't know anything, I'm going to say he knows things. And he knows things too because he's obviously being communicated with by his own coach.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine if that's out in the media and then he's hearing things, it's like, that narrative is out there, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can just be like this role adjustment and then kill it in your next role.
I also think there's a misconception out there. An enforcer 2K9 in the chat brought this up too, just about Kevin. And I've heard this a lot. It says we forget about Kevin's start last year because he hasn't been that way since the start of last year. There's zero doubt that Kevin Huerter was unbelievably red hot to start the season. In October, however many games that was, I believe he was shooting 52% from three. We said at the time he wasn't going to shoot 52% from three the entire year.
Yeah.
His numbers dipped throughout the year. It went from 52% from three. I think he was in the 40s in November. December and January, 37.5%. Not bad.
Yeah.
February was the bad month. It was like 28% from three. And then he jumped up to an absurd number in March. People act like he didn't do anything in March. I'm going to bring up his splits because I just want to be accurate here.
Yeah.
Because I think people are left with the last memory in that All-Star weekend is in their mind. But here, I'm going to give you the exact split numbers by month last year with Kevin Huerter. He shot 53% from three in 6 games in October. In November, he shot 41% from three in 14 games. That's an unbelievably high mark. The next 2 months, I was right. He dropped to 37.5, 37.2, and then I said 28. He shot 29.2% in February. In March, he shot 51% from three. So he had 2 months where he shot above 51% from three. And then in April, 4-game sample size. I want to make that clear. 4-game sample size. He shot 25%. And of course, in the playoffs, he was not good at all. So Kevin still shot 40% from three last year. He still hit over 200 threes last year, which there was like 1 of 4 guys to do it. That includes Steph, Keegan Murray, Buddy Hield, and Steph Curry. So I think that take is wrong, is my whole point there. So I want to see Kevin get out of it. And maybe Kevin never gets out of it. Maybe he's just in his own head forever. I mean, we've seen it with NBA players before. The one that comes to mind for a lot of people who are old school fans, Nick Anderson in Orlando. This guy was a knockdown shooter, could hit free throws. All of a sudden, he couldn't make free throws to save his life. He ends up getting traded to Sacramento. He plays for the Sacramento Kings. The Kings get Doug Christie. Initially, Doug Christie was coming off the bench.
Crazy.
And then Doug Christie took his job, and Nick Anderson never got it back.
It happens.
So.
And I hope Kevin Huerter figures it out because not only when you look at those numbers, but you think about what he did contribute with this starting unit last year. So like, why would that just go away so damn quick?
Well, should we look ahead to the next game?
Look ahead.
It's coming up quick. It's coming up Sunday. It's at Golden One Center. Kings and Lakers.
Here we go.
Lakers are 1-1.
They just beat the Phoenix Suns, and LeBron played 35 minutes and had 20-something points, and AD had 30 points.
Yeah, and they had to come back to win that game.
Yes.
Of course, the Suns were also playing without Devin Booker and Bradley Beal.
Yes.
It was a pretty ugly game, by the way. Yeah, I mean, AD's a tough guy. I mean, that's when he's out there, like that's going to be a tough matchup for Sabonis. Because of his and when Davis is on, game one, he wasn't on. He had 17 points in the first half against Jokic, did not score the rest of the game.
Sure.
Last game against Phoenix,
He
unbelievable effort.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
I didn't like that narrative. I
Yeah.
didn't like people talking about that. Boom, I'm going to change that up. I'm sure he's going to try and feast on the Sacramento Kings, understanding that they don't have much size. You know, how much will JaVale McGee be going in and guarding him and just
He
trying
knows
to,
his game a little bit, played with him and won championship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Match up against his size a little bit better. It's just going to be another interesting game when you look at rotations too, because this is something we talked about with matchups in this league when it comes to the Sacramento Kings and what they can do defensively and what they lack. So yeah, I'm excited to see how they defend certain things. There's just, don't let everyone else be good. And
the guy that's been a Kings killer we've talked about so much is D'Angelo Russell over the years, and D'Angelo hasn't really had a good start to the year.
No, of course he's going to get things going on Sunday.
I don't think has he ever had like a bad game against Sacramento?
I don't think so.
He is a Kings killer. Steph is officially just a Kings killer.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he is like all-time Kings killer now.
Yes.
And D'Angelo Russell is like in the Kings killer Hall of Fame too.
He is. Which is such a weird one, but you're so right. There's something that he feels against the Sacramento Kings, and maybe it's just confidence. Maybe he's like, this is a not a very good defensive team, and so like his mindset is like, I can score, I can do my thing.
Well, it's definitely a winnable game.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% think it's a winnable.
They're beatable,
Yeah,
of course.
They're 100% beatable, and it's going to be another fun atmosphere out there. Of course, the Lakers come to town, LeBron coming to town. It's always a big game. Yeah, I think the Kings will be fine. Like, I'm not. Look, they're 1-1. I think the most irritating thing for me too about this, is I need them to be better at home this year. And losing the first one's always annoying. You know, they were 23-18 last year on the home floor. Yes. They had a better road record than a home record. And establishing the home court to me is imperative this year. Even if they take a slight dip on the road, I can live with that, but you have to be better at home. I want to see you push for 30 wins on the home floor.
And it's not only because it's like, okay, for your fans, for your crowd, like they're all there, they're giving you that home court advantage, but it's like it's again not capitalizing on something that should be making life a little bit easier. The energy in the building, the just being at home, waking up in your own bed. And you know what I mean? Like that alone, not traveling and not worrying about your sleep schedule. All those things should come into play when you're playing on your home court. So
I just realized a couple of things that we need to get to.
yeah, what?
One, I have Kings Lakers tickets to give away.
Oh, you do?
Yes, and I have an idea for it too.
Okay.
And it involves a new thing we're going to start in the show. Oh. And you can call it cheesy if you want. I kind of like it. I think it's a good gimmick. So the thought I had was, I told Morgan, I said, we're going to have a jar. And after each game, we pick one moment, write it down on a Post-it note, and we put it in the jar. And at the end of the year, we'll just kind of go through some of the fun moments and be like, dude, remember this game. For example, here's the first moment we're putting in the jar from opening night.
Yeah.
I put the date, 10/25 game, 1 at Utah, Malik Monk dunk, rest in peace, Chris Dunn.
Rest in peace, Chris Dunn.
That goes in here.
That's a great one.
That goes in here.
That's a great one.
So my idea for tonight is, what do you guys think the moment should be tonight?
Ooh, and we'll pick the best one, put it on a Post-it note and put it in there?
Yeah, and it could be, that's what I was thinking. And the person who has the one that ends up in this jar will win 2 tickets to Kings Lakers coming up on Sunday at Golden One Center.
All right, well, start typing them up, guys.
Yeah. Can I give you some candidates for me? I mean, I think if you're writing one down, that's interesting. What about De'Aaron Fox with 39 points, 22 in the fourth quarter?
22 in the fourth quarter alone. Yep. Let's see. What are people saying?
Do you have any moments from today? I mean, and also, let's be honest about life. Sometimes there's challenges in life. Steph can be mentioned in it. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Fox carrying the team in the last 5 minutes. I mean, his clutch moments. Yep. The 2 big threes and then taking it to the rack.
McGee's dunk got mentioned. No, that's not. Come on, that can't be it.
Why? The pick and roll with, well, yeah, it's not big enough moment. It's like, we've seen it now. Rain throwing up on the court? No, he did not.
Is that true? De'Aaron Fox?
That is such a baby thing to do. I wish he threw up, made Steph Curry slip on it.
Someone said Keegan Murray opening night speech. That was kind of funny. Hey, really excited to be here, Kings fans.
I mean, that's cute. That is
That
cute.
doesn't go in there. Are you kidding me?
Okay. Let's see. Sasha's first 3 at the home opener. Wow, no one's doing it for you?
No. You know what? I like Mike. Mike's.
Okay, what's
Is that
Mike's?
Mike or Miles?
It's Miles.
Let's go Miles Mansker. Miles, if you're in Sacramento,
Yeah.
let me know.
Yeah, make sure you're in Sacramento. Let us know. I'll check on that.
I think it's great. Fox and Curry duel in the home opener. I think that's the one.
Okay.
Fox and Curry. So if you're in Sacramento, you can go to the game. Miles, go to deuceandmo.com, click on contact, give us your information, and we'll give you 2 tickets to Kings Warriors coming up on Sunday night. Yeah, Kings Warriors tonight, the moment of the game. Fox and Curry duel. We'll put how many for Steph tonight? He had
41.
1 points.
And 39 for...
39 points for Fox, 22 in 4th. And that is our second one to go in the jar.
I like it. I mean, I do like baby puke game that we're seeing.
You know what? We're at... Well, we can't give it away, but...
We can't. Deuce won't put it on there because then he feels bad that he doesn't have tickets.
We have a winner. And I have not gotten confirmation about this baby Rain.
It could have been a
puking.
different baby. Are you sure it was Rain puking? He was puking in disgust over Steph Curry's beautiful freaking game. Deuce and Mo, I
Nate says the Rain
appreciate
comment
you,
should have
Miles.
won. Well, Nate, when you hold a contest and have tickets to give away, you can do that. All right, Nate? But you can leave it to Deuce Mason, who picked one, okay? I will add just a slight note that some people think. Should I add that on there?
Sure, Deuce. Sure.
Baby
Rain puke game.
puke? Question mark?
Oh, good job.
Unconfirmed.
Well, let's get
Unconfirmed.
confirmation.
Yeah, let's hit up Versailles and ask.
Yeah, we're saying hi.
Can you confirm
We know
that?
we shouldn't be bothering you, but we need confirmation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we'll cite our sources. That's funny.
Any other final thoughts from this one?
No, I'm kind of with you. You know, it's funny. Like,
I have one.
Jesus, what I
Sorry. No, you're right. You're right. Go ahead. Just don't let me forget.
Obviously, it's called a final thought, and you're supposed to give your final. My final thought is I felt good at the beginning of this, and now I feel a little worse than I did. Just kind of breaking certain things down, being like, oh man, there's a lot of flaws, but it's game 2, so I'm not worried.
Okay.
What's
good.
your
I'm
final
not worried
thought?
either. No, my final thought has to go to something I saw pregame. And I've met this Kings fan. Seems like a nice guy. It's a guy that shows up to almost every game dressed as Kevin Huerter. But I can't help but look at him and go, it looks like Steve Kerr. He looks like Steve Kerr. It looks like Steve Kerr put on Kevin Huerter's uniform.
That's a good point.
And headband.
That's a good point.
Also, does he fully live the gimmick and do it all the time?
We talked about this on postgame, and Matt Barnes goes, look at Kevin Huerter's body language. He goes, people are saying this guy looks like me. Like, hell no, I don't want that. And I'm just like, I'm like, yeah, just because he has red hair and shoves on his jersey.
That is Steve Kerr. That guy should go to Warriors games and try to act like Steve Kerr.
That would honestly, that could maybe work.
Also,
dumb.
you know what reminds me? So years ago, some people, if Sacramento, I mean, I don't know if anyone's going to know this. There was a time in Sacramento in my early 20s when the Giants were winning World Series that a guy in Sacramento that was pretty active in the nightlife scene had like a black beard and he like tried to look like Brian Wilson of the Giants.
Okay.
I always thought that was so weird. And then the Klay Thompson guy, which I think was more funny.
But
there's some people who just like embrace like this whole cosplay thing.
I mean, you could be any generic white guy in the league.
If someone dressed like me all the time, I'd be a little concerned.
You should be. You should be. Anyone that just buys in all. I mean, he's not dressing up as Kevin Huerter on the streets.
I'm gonna say this. He was wearing this tonight. I saw him before a playoff game, and I think I saw him at FanFest wearing this.
Okay, well,
I think he is Kevin. Like he's
like,
Kevin Huerter.
I am Kevin Huerter. Put me in, coach.
That's who's actually been playing. that explains
With
it.
the real Kevin Huerter come
How
out
do
and
we
play.
not notice it? It was him who played.
That's so messed up. Kevin will be fine.
We laugh so we don't cry.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, but that guy's living the gimmick, man.
He's
living the gimmick.
loving the gimmick. Living and loving the gimmick.
Oh my God. Of course, we're going to be back live coming up on Sunday night. We are live after every Kings game. I also want to encourage you guys to check out our YouTube page that you're on right now. We posted like 2 things today.
Yeah.
We're posting content almost daily. And shout out to you guys. We just had our biggest month ever when it came to YouTube views. Like we have more views this month than we had April of last year. It keeps going up. We've also surpassed our views
For the whole year of last year already in October.
And our whole point to that is like, hey, we're so cool.
Look at us.
It's literally saying thank you. Thank you for like sharing our content, hitting the thumbs up, subscribing. All that does is help us get more exposure.
You are
and it means-
supporting a small business, a local small business. And we owe you everything. So thank you.
Yeah. And also thanks to everyone who sent some love. We didn't talk about this last night, chat, but super excited that I have a bigger role on NBC Sports California this year for Kings pre and post, where I'll be doing videos every game, but also I'll be on pre and post with Morgan every
You'll be
once in a
hopping
while.
on.
Some Deuce and Mo takeovers. And you know what? You guys make some more noise about it and you guys like it. Maybe they'll be like, you know what? We got to get some more Deuce Mason on. But I am beyond grateful that I get to do this in my hometown. It's surreal to me still that I'm from Sacramento. I grew up rooting for the team, fell in love with it, and now I'm working on the TV broadcast.
And like we said, if it wasn't for this, we would not be doing that. So thank you for always pushing us to be able to do things like with NBC and everything. You guys are the best.
Give me a hell yeah.
You guys
Let's
fire me up.
go.
Any other thoughts?
That's it.
It's been so fun, guys. Enjoy your Friday and Saturday. We'll be back live Sunday. We love you guys so much. And don't worry, we got a lot more games to go, baby. Buckle up for this roller coaster ride.
See ya Sunday. Bye.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.